2, 1, countdown. Blast off. Blast off. Where are the streams? Are we live? We are live. We are live on Twitch. We are live on YouTube. And it's not easy for me to check, but it looks like we're probably live on LinkedIn. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome everybody. And by everybody, I see there are 0 viewers watching the stream right now. So, yeah, welcome to me. Welcome to me. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to filter in. But I did want to plug right up front. I'll be plugging at the beginning every day until South by Southwest. I built a app. This app can be found at sxfreesw.com, southbyfreesouthwest.com, which is not affiliated with South by Southwest. As a matter of fact, none of these events that go on during South by Southwest are official South by Southwest events. Actually, that's not true. There's one that's a free event that South by Southwest is giving off that I put on the list. So if you are coming to South by Southwest, if you live in Austin, Texas, or you will be traveling here for events, there are lots of events going on if you are a badge holder. But those badges are over $1,000. And if you are on a budget but still want to get out and make some more connections, see some interesting tech, have some great conversations with people far and wide. Again, there are already over 100 events in my app, and I'm going to be spending a big chunk of my day putting another 50 or so in the app. So if you are coming to town and you're looking for things to do that are separate from, but along with South by Southwest, check out my app, sxfreesw.com, South by Free Southwest. All right, that's my plug. Again, I'm going to be doing that plug at the top of the hour until South by Southwest and through South by Southwest, and then we'll retire it for another year. But already I'm getting great response from people who are checking it out. And again, a lot of these events are RSVP, so they will fill up. So go check that out. Get on some events and really fill up your calendar and get some really interesting stuff happening at South by Southwest. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Story of a Girl. Now, this is Dev Jobs Daily, where I look at job trends in the tech industry and talk about tech news. We broadcast live Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on currently YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch. If you or somebody you know is in the job market looking for a new job in tech, more specifically, if you happen to be a programmer, that's been my entree into the tech world. I've been a programmer for over 30 years, a web developer for just about 30 years. And currently I manage, we need to come up with a new name for it, because I tell everybody what we have been doing for the last 10 years, which is being a coding boot camp, but we changed our business model. We're not that anymore. We are something completely different. Our goal now is to help people learn, but in a different way, without teachers. Learning without teachers. That's our new thing. But I need some name for it. I don't know what we do. I know what we do, but I don't have a sharp, succinct, catchy name for it. I got to come up with that. Maybe I'll get ChatGPT to help me come up with some names for that business. New business model. Anyway, my focus has been on helping people get into the industry, whether they are learning new skills and changing careers, getting into the industry, or now our new audience also includes probably 50% of our new audience includes upskillers, people who are already working in tech or maybe recently got laid off, have got a history working in tech, but they know they need to learn new skills, and we focus on helping them learn new skills and preparing for job interviews. So let's get into it. Let's talk some job numbers. I look at the job numbers every day, including weekends. I get up and I check on Indeed.com for the latest numbers of job postings in the last 24 hours, and I mark them down on a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet I've been tracking for 938 days, so I've been collecting data for a long time. Coming up on 3 years worth of data, but really the most pertinent data is are these three graphs. The first graph here in the upper left-hand corner of your screen is the last 7 days. What's the trend in the last 7 days? With a 7-day average on it to get rid of some of the noise in the in the data. And what we're seeing is a slight downtrend. It's roughly within the margin of error, but if we look at the last 6 months, we can see we had a nice uptrend going, and then came middle of January, and everything kind of flattened out. What happened in the middle of January? Let's see. Somebody forgot to put his hand on the Bible and swore himself in as the new president. And since then, there's been a lot of chaos, been a lot of uncertainty, and the market, in particular businesses, large businesses, don't feel comfortable when there's all that uncertainty. And they've responded by taking all that enthusiasm that they had coming out of the election and putting it on ice until the dust settles with what's going on with tariffs and job losses and contracts being canceled and all that stuff, right? Big business, especially in tech, has a lot of contracts with the government. And all those are called into question now. Are they going to lose those government contracts? The new administration, with some help, has been publicizing that they're canceling lots of contracts. And that just means less work for tech companies, less money in the door for tech companies. And they are correctly a little concerned about that. So, until the dust settles on all this craziness that's happening in Washington, I don't anticipate a big turnaround. But hopefully that will happen soon. Hopefully the new president will run out of ink in his pen and he'll stop signing these executive orders, and Elon will get back to doing what he's good at, launching rockets into space, and the world of business can get back to the world of business. We're not there yet, but again, if you look at our numbers, the average that we have right now is still better than the average we had during the summer and into the fall. So we'll take the wins where we can get them. It's better than it was. There are new job postings being put out every day. And if you are in the market, your job is to get a job. And the way to do that is to get up early, get a caffeinated beverage in you, check in with your old pal, and hang out for an hour. And just get those job apps out while you listen to me ramble about what's going on in the world of tech. So, those are the numbers. Again, not great numbers. But for the last 18 months, this year-long graph was pointed seriously down, in a serious down direction. That is starting to turn around. We're seeing that flatten out. And in the next month, we'll start to see it trend upward again. Um, and that's what we want to see. We want to see an upward trend. Okay, check me out on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every day. There is a link to connect with me on LinkedIn. Um, in On LinkedIn and in the Twitch. I haven't added it to YouTube. I've really not focused too much on the whole marketing thing. My Twitch chat window is pretty lame, and so is my YouTube's even worse. There's like very little information about it. I got to get better at that. Um, so I got to figure this stuff out. But I've been on a ship and jag. I'm writing lots of code these days and working with AI write a lot of code. And I've been shipping a lot of stuff. Man, I was working on this project last year, and I hit a block. And I, I, in, I got AI to assist me, and it helped a little bit. It fixed a little issue here, a little issue there, but couldn't solve my big problem. It was just a bear. And, you know, sometimes when you hit those problems in a side project, it doesn't have its own kind of momentum. There's no deadline. There's no boss yelling at you. You got to get this thing done. So, you hit that roadblock and you're like, maybe I'll set it aside and come back into a week. And then a week becomes 2 weeks and a month and 2 months. And then you look back at the code and you don't even remember the code that you did write. Like what is even going on here? What was I thinking? Who wrote this crazy code, right? And this is probably 6 months ago, 5 months ago. And so I sat down with ChatGPT and their latest deep thought model yesterday. And I fed it a little bit of code. I explained the problem, and I pushed the button. I hadn't used it before. I was like, I've been looking for an excuse to use it. Let's figure this out. Mostly everybody says like this deep research is for, researching stuff. And so haven't rushed out to test it or utilize it. And so I sat down last night, just sleepy. I had my laptop on my, just sitting there, like kind of nodding off. I was like, let me give this a shot. And I push the button, and it starts doing this research thing. It opens up this little sidebar. It's like, let's look at this. All right, and then let's do a research here. Oh, let's go look at Reddit. Oh, let's go look over here and look at this documentation. And it looked up like 19 sources, and then it came back, and it was like, try this code. And I copied and pasted the code in there, and it just worked. And then I sat down for another 20 minutes. I sat up for another 20 minutes, and I was like, now explain this code to me because I don't understand it and why it works, but the old code didn't work. And 30 minutes later, that project is back on track. I'm excited about that side project again, so you'll hear about that at some point when I get it ready to roll out. So, yeah, we live in amazing times. So, let's check out what's going on in the news, in the tech news. All right. Get my news every day from a lot of different sources. Primarily, the most prominent way I do that is through being on mailing lists, being on Stack Overflow, not Stack Overflow, Substack, and having news alerts set up, Google News alerts, and all of those come to my email address, right? You want to spend as little time collecting the information and more time consuming the right information. So I have curated a lot of different sources, probably about a dozen sources that I will get every week. About a half of them are daily. The other half are once a week or a couple of times a week. And that has helped me stay current in an industry that is constantly changing, right? If you're a programmer, like many of us are, you could do a whole lot of different things, right? You could work on embedded systems. You could work on low-level operating systems. You could write web applications, mobile applications, data science. You could do a whole bunch of things, front end, back end, if you learn to program, right? But, and all those things and many more, all those things and many more, uh, are sorry, somebody was messaging me at the same time. Lost track. Got to turn that off. All those things and many more are possible. Are focused now on their own specialization. It took me a while to get to that. So all those things are kind of specialties, right? You could do any one of those things, and that could be your career, including things like UX, UI, you know, across the board, and and every one of those specializations keep advancing, and it's very difficult to stay up with the larger industry if you don't actively, aggressively work at it, right? It's too easy to get into your specialization and be completely focused on that and, get to the top of your career. But as we've seen, curveballs can come in. AI is coming in and shifting the focus of a lot of different jobs in tech. And we need to stay on top of that. So, checking the news. I spend at least an hour every day. Well, I did before this. Now I'm spending more than that because of this this stream. Checking out the news, seeing what's new, what's on the horizon. Do I want to head in that direction, or do I want to head in this direction? There's interesting stuff going on over there. Oh, but that's not really my thing. I want to track it because maybe I want to utilize it, but I don't want to learn it or create it. That's fine. All that stuff is valid in scoping out and checking out. So let's look at the latest tech news. Warner Brothers shuts down 3 game studios, cancels a Wonder Woman title. AAA games are really having a rough time these days. I mean, they got so bloated. Millions and millions of dollars in multiple years of risk for a title, and then it comes out and gamers turn on it, and you've wasted all that money. So, they're learning the lesson that big blockbuster movies started learning that you got to be careful. You got to hedge your bets. You got to find more profitable experiences. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that system changes. We're nowhere near done with Framework 16. Laptop 16 says Framework. Meet Framework Desktop, a monster mini PC powered by Ryzen AI Max. Framework moves into desktops. 2-in-1. Laptop 2nd generation. I'm not familiar with these Framework computers. Interesting. Lemon Labs now lets authors create and publish audiobooks on its own platform. I've been waiting for this. This seems like a no-brainer. As long as they give you the tools to fine-tune. We've gotten to the point where these AI voices are really competent at sounding kind of business speak normal, but they've been struggling with the idea of kind of emoting, And depending on what kind of audiobook you have, if you got a nonfiction audiobook and you're just talking about, some better approach to business or something like that, that kind of voiceover would work fine. But if you're, if you're writing a piece of fiction, fiction is full of emotions, and good readers do an amazing job of performing that emotion, but not over the top chewing scenery performing, but finding a nice balance in there. When you read, there are half a dozen, I'm sure there are a lot more, but just top of the line audiobook readers that do some of the best books that are out there. And they do different voices, and they, really create drama with their voice. And it's going to be interesting to see how these AI voices will be. Because I saw one demo last year where somebody was like recording their own voice with its own sort of pacing, enthusiasm, excitement, and then using that as a sort of template about how to do the generative audio with utilizing the emotion essentially from the original recording. So, like, I do not have a great voice for radio, but I can communicate. I can use pauses. I can use energy in my voice. I'm good at conveying information in an interesting way. This is a skill that I've developed over 30 years of teaching on and off. And again, if I could record me saying a thing with all the pacing that I want, with all the variation in vocal volume, having things trail off, get really excited about something, speeding up and talking really fast, slowing things down, all of that kind of pacing stuff that a good communicator does to keep you engaged. If you could find a way to add that into these AI voices, and I'm sure somebody's working on that problem right now, that's going to be interesting. So I am curious about that. I have a project that I've been wanting to work on for a long time, based on a script I started writing during the pandemic, but it's kind of a just telling stories from my early days, and it's not. I don't know. There's ways that I feel like I could use AI to help communicate the story, but it's not quite there yet. It's still got a ways to go. What I like to do is, my voice has changed as I've matured, and the stories I'm telling are from when I was in my 20s, and I have recordings, many, many, many hours of recordings of myself from then, and when I listen to them, it's not just the normal, I don't recognize my voice, but I mean, the quality of my voice is very different. So I have this idea to use these 11 Labs type applications to train it on my old voice, but write the new words and put those new words into my old voice. And I haven't had any time it's not been a priority for me to play around with that. But at some point in the next year, I think I'm going to dive into that project and take a month off and build that project out. Interesting stuff. We live in amazing times. If you're a person who has lots of ideas, guilty as charged. We're charging into magical times. This is the thing about developers. There are, lots of different flavors of developers, and the kind of thing that motivates different developers really can affect a team of developers and how they work together. And there are some developers who are not people who have ideas. They are just waiting around for you to tell them, I've got this problem to solve. And then as soon as they get that to chew on, they don't really care about the problem. They care about coming up with a solution. And they're all in. They'll figure it all out. They'll make it the most efficient in their spare time. They're learning new frameworks and learning new languages, working to become better at executing somebody else's vision. And that's great. I've never been that person. Never been that person. I've been the one who has lots of ideas, and I learn all the skills that I need to learn to build those ideas. I do that over and over again, and I've also built up a series of skills that could be valuable to other people to help them build their ideas. So, you know, as we move into this new age where if you know how to code, you can code faster. If you know how to code, you can work with your AI co-pilot to do things that, you know, maybe you don't know how to do. You could learn to do. You have those skills, but you don't have the knowledge at your fingertips, and you could speed that process up. I've had lots of ideas, 30 years of ideas, of notebooks full of ideas. And those ideas, I'd go like, oh, but I don't know how to do this, you know, computer vision thing. It'd take me a while to learn all that stuff. I'm like, I'd let somebody else do that idea, and I forget about it. But now we're getting to the point where I'm really challenging myself in lots of different ways to work on some of these ideas to get up to speed with this kind of stuff. This is an interesting. Clicks Android keyboard case makes your foldable phone look like an old school Palm Pilot. Foldable screen, physical keyboard, screen on the back and on the front. That's an interesting idea. Clicks BlackBerry style keyboard. Because it's going to be low run, it'll probably be $1,000. Let's see. Pre-orders for all Android Clicks keyboards. Wait a minute. BlackBerry might be dead, but one of its best ideas, a tiny thumb-friendly keyboard, lives on in Clicks keyboard case. Oh, it's a case for a foldable phone. Interesting. So you buy a foldable phone and you put this case on it. Interesting. The Android version of the Clicks keyboard case supports the folding Motorola Razr Plus. Motorola Razr Plus. Yeah, that's interesting. What does the Motorola Razr Plus go for these days? We've been talking about this because these folding phones have been in the news lately. $700. Razr Plus $499 unlocked. $399 for the 2023. $100 if you sign up for a plan. $399. It's interesting. But again, you know, for the last several years, I've been actively trying to get away from spending time on my phone. So I don't need no fun little gizmo that keeps me on my phone more. I want a boring phone. Apple AI tool transcribe the word racist as Trump. iPhone dictation. Feature transcribes the word racist as Trump. Apple's been kind of out of the fray for the most part. I mean, they did give money to his inauguration party, but they haven't really been picking sides too much. Clearly, if you're Tim Apple, you don't like that guy. You don't like that president. But you got to play nice. You got to play nice. And generally, they've done a pretty good job of threading that needle and kind of not getting in his sights. But now this, come on, man. It's no good. Apple AirTags. You can get 4 AirTags for $68. Interesting. Keep driving. I've watched a couple of videos of people playing Keep Driving, but I haven't played it myself. Google's free Gemini Code Assist arrives with sky-high usage limits. Get coding help from Gemini Code Assist now for free. Man, I cannot be jumping around for all of these models. They just keep coming out. So I've settled in. I've been using Claude 3.7 for the last couple of days. And really happy with that. But I need to focus my time on actually turning out projects and code. I don't need to be in the testing mode of the hamster wheel testing mode. I know these people that are just, ooh, there's a new model. I got to download it and test it. Ooh, I got to benchmark it and test it. Like, that's not turning out anything useful. Your job is to build product, build features, build applications that help you and your employer. So you just got to grab one that you feel comfortable with. Get to work. Get to work, man. Especially if you're working on portfolio stuff. You're in the job market. There's never a better time to be cranking out portfolio pieces. At the same time, learning how to work with AI, because every employer is going to assume you're working with AI, and you're going to be having those conversations in the job search. How are you utilizing it? ChatGPT. I was using it last night. As I said, I use ChatGPT every day. I use Claude for coding assistance in Cursor. Amazon's giving Alexa a major AI upgrade. All new Photoshop iPhone app reimagines image editing for mobile creators. I have been a subscriber to Adobe's Creative Cloud since literally they made the jump like 10 years ago. It's been just about 10 years. Before that, I taught Adobe applications going back to the 90s, mid-90s, early 90s. I started teaching Photoshop in 1993 maybe. I've taught Illustrator, I've taught Premiere, I've taught After Effects. I haven't taught InDesign, but I've used it a bunch. What else? That's about it. So I've been all in on the Adobe world. But when they started having these web apps and phone apps and iPad apps, I'm just a desktop person. I like lots of real estate. I like to have too many windows open. I like to have multiple applications that I'm moving between. And generally, I don't like the experience of being on mobile. or on a tablet. So I have not really tried any of those things, any of them at all. New Android feature is scanning your photos for sensitive content. How to stop it? What is the Safety Core app on my Android phone? Google and Samsungu? Is that a typo? I don't know. Installed 2 new services. What are they good for? Google starts scanning all your photos. One click stops it. Sensitive content. I don't know. Again, I don't use my phone. I use it as little as possible. And I also don't take a whole lot of photos. If you look at my photo roll, there'll be a week between taking photos sometimes. Both of my kids are in band. I've got a kid in a high school band and a kid in college band. And so during football season, I end up taking a lot of photos just because I'm going to football games and seeing my kid do different things. But aside from that, like, I'll take a photo when I'm at the grocery store if I see some new crazy thing that I want to share with my wife. I'll take a photo if I need to remember something. I don't take a whole lot of photos. I just don't. Microsoft makes Copilot voice and think deeper free with unlimited use. They're all just trying to steal. This is straight out of the startup playbook. They're all just trying to steal market share by making their products cheap or free, subsidizing the real value to get the audience. Man, at some point, if we don't get cold fusion happening fast, they're going to have to charge what this thing really costs and provide a premium on top of that for profit. We can only skate by without paying the piper for so long. It really is interesting to see, because when we look at in recent history, Meta decided that VR was going to be the thing. AR and VR is going to be the thing. And they're all in. And generally speaking, I was behind that. I'm not a huge Zuck fan, but Facebook, for all its good and all its bad, had one founder at the top throughout its whole life. And, you know, they didn't kick the founder out and bring in a Tim Apple style manager who's hedging his bets and focused on the quarterly stock market price. You still had a founder who's willing to take risk, who's willing to really go all in on a thing that they believe in. And that didn't quite pan out. Certainly not yet. The technology wasn't quite there yet. But as it gets better, you know, will they be better positioned to take advantage of that when the hardware catches up to the software? Maybe. But the more important thing is that, you know, they're taking a risk. They're going all in. And they spent a lot of money. They invested a lot of money, lost a lot of money in that. But they were just one company who was really just going all in. Now we have this thing where all of the big players, all of FANG, all of the Mag 7, the Mag 10, whatever they're calling them these days, they're all in on AI. And they're all spending an absurd amount of money. And they're creating these tools that they're essentially giving away. They're losing money hand over fist. Their burn rate is crazy. And in the case of Google, they're, undercutting their main business. It's not like when Zuck decided to go all in on VR that he was just like, let's actively work against Facebook and Instagram. No, they were just doing their own thing, and Facebook and Instagram continue to grow and make money and fund this side project. But Google is shooting themselves in the foot. They're cannibalizing their own market to go all in on AI. And if this does pan out for one company, and they're not the one company, they lost in AI, and they have gutted their cash cow of their advertising business, of their search business. These are risky times for companies because they're all chasing something. We'll see how that pans out. Anyway, we're all benefiting from it. This is an example of the marketplace really benefiting the consumer. These guys are not colluding to raise the prices on stuff. They're colluding in some ways to lower the prices on stuff. Not colluding, but they're making AI a loss leader, even though it's crazy expensive to run. If you are listening or reading, throw a message in the chat. What's going on? You got any questions? Happy to take a side quest and answer any questions that you have. Otherwise, we'll push forward. We will push forward. Checking the stream, making sure I still can be heard. If you have any questions, I had some question in a Zoom call yesterday. My audio was kind of noisy and staticky. Are you hearing that? If you're watching, do you hear staticky noise? Let me know. Nothing on the iPhone 3A Pro. People will hate it. AI chatbot stunned the internet after switching to computer language mid-conversation. This was so obviously fake. This is so obviously fake, this video. Why is Forbes writing about it? The Economist writing it. Shocking video of AI assistant speaking secret code. This is so nonsense. I can't believe that hoax. Really. It's being taken seriously. Sims 4. I never was a Sims player. It's interesting, but I didn't get why people spent so much time in it. But my kids were when they were young, they would play lots of these games where they would design their room and add little virtual things to their virtual spaces, and they played a lot of those games that kind of not necessarily dress up, but dress up your environment kind of games. And man, I never really saw the fascination with that. But they're like kids, and they like to play around in their world, and I saw that as a thing. But then when I all these cozy games have popped up in the last 5 years where the whole thing is like decorating your space. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Congratulations for all those people who do get it. I am not one of those people. Yeah. The next dimension of product design and manufacturing with Apple Vision Pro. I'm curious about that. I had 10 years ago a product design and manufacturing company. Wasn't very successful, but it's something I'm interested in. Got really deep into like learning about packaging, all the different ways to package stuff at that time. For some products that I launched. Oh, this is an example of one of those products right here. And I created the packaging for it, die cut the inserts. I really am constantly interested in that kind of stuff. Every decision you make is Avowed is terrible. Yep, haven't played Avowed. Don't know anything about that. GTA. Why is all this gaming stuff? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 leaked for Nintendo Switch. You should download your Kindle ebooks now. We saw that article already. Switch 2 release date. Ex-Nintendo employee provides Switch 2 release date. Could launch in June for $400. Okay. Scalpers have new gig, teaching people how to score 5090 GPUs. Obviously there are people who have more money than sense. Most people when they launch this new set of video cards and the whole scalper thing that goes on, there are legitimate uses for that for sure. Some people need them for business and their work. But when you look at the top end 40 series, it's not that much less in terms of benchmarks, but the price differential is huge. So when a new 50 series comes out and they start discounting those 40 series, that's when you need to snap up those 40 series, because again, you're going to get 85% of the performance for 50% less cost. Crazy. Lots of gaming stuff in the feed. Lots of gaming stuff. I'm not much of a game player. I'm currently a game maker, working on a Steam release. Decided yesterday when the launch date's going to be. I'm going to be launching on July 4th of this year. And I started working back on when to launch the demo and all of that stuff. So I'm plotting and scheming to get that work done and in place. The knowledge economy is on the way out. Come on. Yeah, because there's no value in knowing things anymore. This is nonsense. I love, these clickbait titles just drive me crazy. 13 free AI courses to learn high-paying skills in 2025. I am always interested in that. What can you learn to make yourself more valuable? Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is in talks for a new $200 billion artificial intelligence data center. In Louisiana, Energy CEO touts $10 billion meta data center in Louisiana as AI sparks a utility gold rush. So there's a $10 billion one in Louisiana. Where's the $200 billion one going? Apple just announced that they're putting a new campus, or expanding their campus in Houston. I think they said Houston. We are in Austin, Texas here. A lot of companies have moved to Austin, Texas since the pandemic. And in the nearby communities, ruined his life. 2 agents on a phone call realize they're wrong. This is ridiculous. Gibberlink mode. This is interesting take. I hadn't heard that. Amazon bets savings from automation can help fuel AI spending boom. So we're going to automate our factories, our warehouses, our driving. And because it's going to be more efficient, we'll use less energy. Because it's going to be more efficient, we're going to use less energy. So we'll have more energy for AI to develop more products and services that use less humans and create more automation. It's an interesting circular point of view that doesn't work out well for people who have jobs. Amazon banking on robotic savings amid increasing AI spend. Or it may just be something they're going to lie because they don't want their stock prices to tank. Because again, if you make things more efficient, never in the course of human history has there been less of those things. There's always, more businesses that utilize that. People have tended to be the bottleneck. And when you take that bottleneck out, and the cost of hiring new automation tools and new robots to do those roles is nominal, and a business write-off, well, they're just going to hire, more of those. If they had 1,000 employees, they're going to get 2,000 robots. So I don't know that the energy cost goes down. I think that they just double the things that they can do with that energy. Curious. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We shall see. Teams are spilling dark thoughts to AI chatbots. Who's to blame when something goes wrong? Experts warn of AI chatbots offering mental health advice. Human therapists prepare for a battle against AI pretenders. We talked about that earlier in the week. And making Cloudflare the best platform for building AI agents. Okay, ad story. Cisco expands partnership with NVIDIA to accelerate AI adoption in the enterprise. Palantir stock rises. What it says about the AI trade. Every Palantir investor should keep an eye on this number. Microsoft workers protest sale of AI and cloud services. Should I use AI to help me write sermons? Interesting. There are winners and losers from Hong Kong's 2025 budget. AI in the U.S. economy. Minor gains, but future benefits. No need to run from the robots. All right, we're getting down to it. This is the end. We're broadcasting from Austin, Texas. My name is Keith, and we're going to be reconvening in 23 hours to do this again. We broadcast every day from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time, as a place to hang out while you're getting job applications, to learn about what's going on in the tech industry. I go over job numbers, which I check every day, and news in the tech industry, and kind of talk about what effects that might have on our industry. But I'm also starting to plug this application that I've built. It is at sxfreesw.com. South by Free Southwest. If you are coming to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas in a few weeks, and you want to find new and interesting things to do, I've built this application, which there are other people who are tracking these events, but they're putting them in Google Sheets, which is helpful to a certain extent. But if you really want to plan out your day, being able to see where things are on the map, where they are on a calendar and a schedule, and then getting information about what that thing is. So if you're up, you go to an event and, oh, this is boring. I thought it was going to be cool. It's completely lame. What's nearby? Oh, what's this thing over here? Is it the same time? It's the same time. Okay, let's go that. It's just one block down the street. So, collected data, displayed on the map and on a calendar, super useful as you're planning your experience around South by Southwest. And you'll see that even in Austin, there's some events that are kind of far out there, that are down out of the fray, and that's kind of interesting to check out too. You don't have to worry about parking in the same way. So check it out. If you know anybody that is going to South by Southwest, please share this with them. South by Free Southwest.com, SWFREESW.com. And that's it for now. Again, look for that plug at the top and the end of every broadcast until South by Southwest is over. And hopefully we'll see you at South by Southwest. If you're going to be in town, going to some events, let me know. We can meet up, chat, get to know each other, expand our network. Always looking to meet and have conversations with interesting people. Okay, well, we will see you guys in 23 hours. Thank you so much